Well, hi again, hockey fans. Welcome into episode number 13 of Ccha Now, all new edition. My name is Ben Holden. We appreciate you stopping by and joining us. Big weekend last weekend for the Miami Redhawks. They knocked off the red-hot Alaska Nanooks. They swept them at home. The Nanooks had come in unbeaten in their last 7 games. Big weekend, in fact, too, for the Bowling Green Falcons. It was a big weekend in general in the state of Ohio. The Falcons with a sweep of Lake State, their first CCHA sweep since November of 2008. And the Michigan Wolverines, they picked up their first series sweep since last February when they beat Northern Michigan. They took 2 from the Michigan State Spartans. Lots of great highlights. Let's get right to it. As we always do on the show, it's plays 10 through 6 in our top 10.
In at number 10, Trevor Elias, young man from Calgary, Alberta. Turnover at center, and then Nolan Laporte down the right wing will set up Elias, who rips it in from the left wing circle and jumps over the defenseman for the game winner in a 3-1 victory on Friday over Ferris State. In at number 9, Brent Tate from Bowling Green's only played 11 games. Dan DeSalvo down the right wing will feather the cross-ice pass to Tate, who rips it by Lake State's Kevin Murdoch for Bowling Green's first of 7 goals in a 7-3 win over the Lakers on Saturday. In at play number 8, Kevin Morris from Miami. Watch him take the pass from Steve Spinell, the captain. He'll score the game winner, the first of 2 on the night for him. This one coming in that left circle to make it 3-2 in a 6-2 win over Alaska on Saturday. In at play number 7, Jake Chelios, his dad Chris, watching him on Friday at Yost. He'll take the feed from Kevin Walrod out of the corner. He'll cut right to the paint and scores in tight to tie it at 2-2. Ended up being a 3-2 Michigan win. Nevertheless, a solid effort by Jake Chelios. In at play number 6, we've got a trifecta of plays here. This one in the shootout, Chase Balassi, so skilled, goes backhand, but CJ Mott wins the battle. Then later in the shootout, Kyle Bonus, he'll go in. He's trying to give Ferris State the bonus point. He does his job. Then it's up to Mott at the other end once again. It's Shane Birchback going in, trying to keep it alive, but CJ Mott and the Bulldogs get the extra point, the bonus point, over the weekend.
How are you celebrating Warrior Hockey Day in Michigan this year?
Well, Lauren, there are several options for Hockey Day in Michigan here in 2013. How about Warrior Hockey Day in Michigan celebration at K-Wing Stadium? Or there's the U.S. National Sled Hockey Game and Sled Hockey Camp in Grand Rapids. Or you could take in one of 18 MHSA high school matchups throughout the state and the Catholic League High School Championships.
What are you doing for Warrior Hockey Day in Michigan?
Well, it's that time of the show to give you this week's CCHA Rewind. The Rewinds, of course, debut every Thursday right here on CCHA.com. But right now, we give you a snippet, a look back at the 2007 CCHA Championship, which featured 2 teams that will play this weekend, the Michigan Wolverines and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
Hensick will face off against Christian Hansen, and we're underway for the 2007 CCHA Conference title game. Wolverines controlling now with Matt Hunwick. Playing it up ahead. Hensick behind the D. Walks in.
Hi, I'm the Fox Sports Detroit girl, Lauren, and here's Ben Holden with this week's Players of the Week.
Well, thanks, Lauren. Here we go with our post-game Offensive Player of the Week. From the Miami Redhawks, it's Mark Hagel, the senior from Hamilton, Ontario. He had 2 assists, including 1 on the game-winning goal in a 4-1 win over Alaska on Friday. He added 3 assists, including 1 on the game winner, in his 6-2 victory on Saturday against Alaska. He also had 2 blocks and finished +6 on the weekend. Our Gladiator Defenseman of the Week is Bobby Shea from Bowling Green. Shea had 2 assists, including 1 in the game-winning goal in a 4-1 win over Lake Superior on Friday. He then added 2 assists in a 7-3 victory on Saturday to complete the sweep of the Lakers. He also had 6 blocks and finished the weekend a +4. Our Warrior Goaltender of the Week is Brady Jelly, the senior from Ohio State. He stopped 29 shots in a 6-3 win over Notre Dame on Friday. Then on Saturday made a career-high 45 saves in a 2-2 tie against the Irish. And our Gong Show Rookie of the Week, Cristobal Boo Nieves from Michigan. Nieves scored twice, including the game-winning goal, and added an assist in a 3-2 victory over MSU on Friday. On Saturday, another goal and another assist for 2 points in a 5-2 win to complete the sweep of MSU. Time now to take a look at this week's top 20 poll, the USCHO.com poll. The Miami Redhawks up 1 to number 3, the highest-ranked CCHA team this week. The Western Michigan Broncos, they stay the same as they were last week, in at number 6. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame drop out of the top 10 this week, down 2 to number 11. And other CCHA teams receiving votes, the Nanooks of Alaska and the Bulldogs of Ferris State. Up on the CCHA schedule this week on Friday, February the 8th, Michigan down at the Comp to take on Notre Dame. That one at 7:35 on CBS Sports Network. 7:05 start times for Ohio State and Alaska, Michigan State and Bowling Green, and Miami at Western Michigan. A 7:35 start time for the Bulldogs of Ferris and Northern Michigan. On Saturday the 9th, it's Michigan and Notre Dame. That one on Comcast at 7:05. Everything else the same. The only other change, Bowling Green skates at MSU. And next Tuesday, February the 12th, a 7:07 start time as Northern Michigan will skate in Houghton against Michigan Tech.
Well, let's shift our attention now to the Lakers of Lake Superior State and their defenseman, Matt Brunito. And we all know how important the history of our great game is. And Brunito is from Omaha, Nebraska. But, of course, playing in Sault Ste. Marie, there's a lot of hockey history up there. As he found out the lineage, the ancestry in his family, well, it certainly runs deep in the sport of hockey.
Yeah, it seems like every time we're watching an NHL playoff game or something, when it goes into overtime, they start talking about the longest goal, and that's when Mud Brunito comes up. And yeah, him and my dad actually, they're the ones who got me started playing hockey when I was like 3 years old, I think. And I remember my grandpa taking me down in the basement, showing me how to shoot a puck. And the fact of knowing that he played at the level he did really kind of inspired me and my brothers. We ended up being pretty competitive, so there'd always be fights breaking out, and everyone wanted to win, you know, and when someone lost, everyone had an excuse because they couldn't get beat straight up. But, yeah, I think that pushed us, and it kind of made us the players we are today. I didn't know much about the place. I didn't even know the history about the Red Wings and their training camp up there. So I took my visit up there, and I just fell in love with the place. And then I started to realize the hockey history, and you go out to some of the restaurants, you see the old pictures up on the wall, and there's a few with my grandpa and his brother up on some, so it's pretty neat.
Keeping it in the UP this week, it's time for our Celebrate the Legacy Team of the Week. We go back to 1981 when Rick Comley was leading the Northern Michigan Wildcats. He had players like Steve Bozak, John and Walt Kyle, just to name a few. This week, Celebrate the Legacy Team of the Week. And it's time now for that point in the show where we unveil this week's top 5 plays of the week. Here we go, starting off with number 5.
We start with Nick Yaremchuk from Alaska. Watch Tyler Moore, the outstanding freshman, make a sweet pass from the high slot down to Yaremchuk, who buries it on the power play to tie things up at 2-2. Was not enough, no. The Redhawks, too powerful. They won the hockey game 6-2. In at number 4, Chris Forfar, who was mic'd up for the game on Saturday at Joe Louis Arena. He knew how to play for the camera and the microphone. A shorthanded breakaway beating Jared Rutledge. It was a 5-2 Michigan win, but nevertheless, a great effort from the senior Chris Forfar. In at number 3, Notre Dame's Kevin Lind. Thomas DePauli helping out. He goes wide on the right wing and throws it down to Lind. He's the late guy in the high slot, rips it by Brady Jelly. Notre Dame's second goal on Friday night in a 6-3 loss. In at number 2, you want to talk about a big-time momentum-swinging play. Derek DeBlois, a shorthanded goal down the right wing and just absolutely unloaded it. Blew the water bottle out of the holder, beating Jake Hildebrand. That made it 2-0 Michigan. They would cruise to a 5-2 win at the Joe on Saturday. And our number 1 play of the week this week, Ohio State defenseman Craig Dalrymple, a 2-man advantage for the Buckeyes. Tanner Fritz, who's all about the assist, he'll find him. Left wing circle, rips the one-timer by Mike Johnson to tie the game at 2-2. That came late in the second period on Saturday night. It was clutch, and it's this week's number 1 play of the week.
Well, our shift has ended here on episode number 13 of CCHA Now. Hope you enjoyed the top plays and all the other great features we had in this week's show. Want to remind you that Hockey Day in Michigan comes up next Saturday, February the 16th. Go to ccha.com. There's lots of info on there that'll tell you about all the great events around the Great Lakes State on Hockey Day in Michigan. Couple of big series to look out for this weekend. Miami in Kalamazoo to take on Western Michigan. A first-place showdown. The Redhawks in first place. And down in South Bend, Michigan trying to get their game going, as is the Irish. Big series between those two teams. As always, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and right here on CCHA.com. For Phil, Sean, all the guys and gals here at the CCHA office that make this possible, Ben Holden saying, thanks for watching. We'll do it again next week.